I was asked by a viewer to describe a little bit a day in my life, basically. So, how I spend the time and what I do. And it's not about what I do, actually, what is important, but I will tell you how it's going for maybe 24 hours. What's important here is really the what is related to ENS, actually, what I do to cope with it, basically. Um, this will not go is not going to look I don't know how to describe it optimistic. Okay, I said it in comments sometimes, perhaps in my videos sometimes. You just before I start just describing my day, is you just need to understand that these things happen in life. It's not easy to accept them, right? Perhaps most of the time people just think life it's 80 years of happiness or whatnot, or maybe a kind of struggle with work, with family, and so on. But there are times that life is not that, or is no longer going to be like that. There are times where there is wars, where there is accidents and stuff, and illnesses, and so on and so on. You need to understand that there were some people. We had this conflict in Ukraine. See, they were living, both Ukrainians and Russians, before this conflict, just like you and me, and all of a sudden, like they say, it's things just turn off in a matter of seconds. So I'm not saying it's like this with ENS, but you just need to understand sometimes life is not what we expect it to be, right? So all this to say, let's just get ready and kind of still, I would suggest that someone else asked me, how do I um, psychologically, emotionally, my mind, how do I just, where do I get the power to get through this? I told him that maybe it's in my character as well. Uh, I think we have a strong will of surviving in ourselves. At least we'll see it, this will, when it's a real struggle. I also told that person that my faith, Christian faith, could be other faith, depends on you actually. Um, it's just giving sort, not a hope, it's sort of I just feel I'm not alone, if you want, okay? And this is personal. I just don't want to say people you should think like me or feel like me. Just personal. Um, it's a belief, right? Um, so all this to say, let's just go on. I just want to start with something. This is perhaps what kind of kicked me off to start making this video. I do have a scale here, and I just kind of just take my weight sometimes, once in a while. So I don't really pay attention to it, but I did. Let's give you an example. Maybe 1 month ago, I was waiting. I'll give you in kilos, and I'll explain what's the link with ENS in a moment. I was waiting about uh, fully dressed 70. I'm pretty tall, 6 feet one. I was weighing 76 or 70 something, 77 kilos. Um, I set, just stepped on a scale today, this morning. It shows 72.5, so a loss of about 4 kilos, which is doesn't look like, but it's quite significant. And it also shows perhaps on my face as well sometimes. And the reason for this weight loss actually is constipation. Sorry to take this, maybe so hopefully you are not eating or something. I'm not giving you creepy details. It's just that body dehydration, it's directly going to cause constipation. And when you have constipation, you just don't absorb the nutrients from your food normally. So basically, just don't go in details. It's really your body doesn't get the nutrients, whatever nutrients are in the food normally. So you lose weight when you have constipation. And this happened to me before when I would, especially this was winter time. I don't have vegetables, where I do have actually, but don't really eat them. It's cold outside. I don't want to go too often to the grocery. I do use fiber, dietary fiber supplements, I think, the kind of metamucin, and I made a video where I explain which ones are the easier on kidneys, because those two have problems on kidneys. So imagine yourself the struggle to figure out a route, basically, to all this canyon of problems. All this to say that in summertime I would eat more salad, for instance, and that would be better, and I just take back those kilos. So it's fluctuating quite a lot. Okay, let's just start with this. So I'm going to maybe start with the morning when I wake up. This is going to be depends on the night. I say in other videos about insomnia. I would my wake up time, if you want, for the day varies from between 3 and 4 a.m. up to 8 a.m. So it depends on the night. Sometimes I wake up at 4 a.m. and I can no longer sleep. Other times I wake up at 8 a.m. after several hours of insomnia. These are the better nights. Altogether, when I wake up at 8 a.m., or just give more or less 8 a.m. obviously, usually that's a night of about 7 hour total sleep. However, it's not a good sleep, I can tell you that. When I wake up at 3, 4 a.m., that would be a night of about maybe 5 hours of sleep, sometimes less. Usually 5 hours, I would estimate. Again, not a good quality sleep. So I will wake up in the morning. I just usually eat. It's. I just want to point out, maybe not everyone is going to get in my condition. And by the way, I don't think I have other illnesses. It's just ENS and what is related to it, what has rolled out of this issue in the long term, again, 10, 15 years since my surgery. Like I explained in other videos, the problems that I got with body dehydration, lungs losing humidity, and in the end, kidney issues, which the kidney limit greatly the type of food I can eat. And also, I need to drink about 6 or 7 liters of water every 24 hours. So I drink during the day, but also at night when I have insomnia. This is only to just keep my body from being dehydrated too much. And the one way I feel I'm dehydrated is my nostrils get very dry. Sometimes I get thick mucosa in the nostrils, but also my kidneys start being painful in the lower back. I think I explained in a video with the kidneys how to detect it, if it's a kidney or a lower back pain, how to separate them, so don't confuse them. Also, yeah, you can do the skin pinch test on the top of your hand. I do have a video to feel for check for dehydration. Anyhow, all this to say that in the morning, what I eat is actually I bake my own bread, and I do use one reason for this. Would be much easier for me to just not much easier, but easier and more tasty too, to buy some bread. I bake some sort of naan bread, so it's like a pita bread. It's not really thin like pita. It's more like naan, if you know the Indian bread, round, and I basically just bake it for the week, and I use only water, a little bit of milk. It gives it taste, and I don't think when you cook the milk, has less effect on the nostrils. So it's not like raw milk when you drink the milk. So a little bit of milk and the flour, obviously, and yeast, and that's it. I don't put salt, sugar, anything, oil, or something like this. One of the reasons is most bread that you purchase in the groceries has salt to it. I don't touch salt these days, except for one of the foods at the noon. So I bake this bread, and then it's thin, and then I toast it. I have a toaster by the where I eat, and I just toast it to be almost dry. If it's soft, it's going to affect my nostril dryness. So this is basically my breakfast. Before this, I used to eat a little bit of hard cheese, but really small amounts. I don't know, maybe 30 grams or so, 1 ounce if you want. However, I stopped doing that because most cheese in commercial cheese has salt to it. Not a lot, but too much for my kidneys. So I had to stop that thing. And this is difficult to eat just bread at morning. Just imagine, it's difficult. I cannot drink juices. I cannot, for instance, orange juice has acidity in it. It's difficult, it's tough on the kidney. After several days of drinking orange juice, for instance, my kidney start being painful, but also it has sugar. And sugar, like the kidney, when the kidney, at least on my condition, they cannot process sugar. So basically what's happening when there's something hard on kidney, some food or drink, I start urinating a lot a few hours after drinking or eating that food. 2 to 5 hours, I start urinating a lot. uh, I guess by already now you already understand what urinating a lot means for a body which is already dehydrated. It's a wrong scenario. So that's why I don't eat or drink those foods which are hard on kidneys. So this is my breakfast. Doesn't matter the amount of bread, but because it's almost dry bread and the body is dehydrated and the intestine doesn't have the right humidity to advance and process this food, guess what? You need to drink water and you need to take fiber supplements. I told you about the ordeal part. It's somehow like a boxing match, a game, basically. You need to just box and find a way to escape from it or just advance. It's also like a labyrinth, if you want, sort of an idea. You have to process. Obviously, I think people are going to have different experiences, maybe the same, but also maybe different. And you just need to figure out mathematically every part of it. I'm not saying you are going to have the same calculations to do that. I had to do myself, but you need to, maybe I'm helping a little bit with ideas here, but you will need to figure it out yourself. And also, if you feel, when you hear these things, if you feel discouraged, if you feel like you just feel you get afraid of the future, just do it day by day, and just go through it. And again, you may have to get rid of the I'm going to have a happy and easy and fun life, who knows? Okay, so perhaps it's going to be different. Perhaps, not necessarily. Don't be pessimistic, in my opinion. Yes, I need to drink water and also I need to take fiber supplements. Look in the video for fiber supplements. I find a fiber supplement that it's even easier on the kidneys, but it's not completely easy fibers, unfortunately. Look in the comment section on that video. I'm going to add, if I don't forget, another product. So then until at noon, I will about 12. I start just warming up my lunch, and this lunch is actually pasta. I do have a video showing how to bake pasta. It's just you can bake it anyway. I do have pasta, which I actually like to bake more pasta at once and just freeze it, just warm it on a pan when I eat, before eating. Eat pasta, and I do eat some sort of a vegetarian ground meat. I don't eat meat. I think you could eat meat actually. I don't think meat is a problem as long as not fat. Maybe beef meat, pork meat, if it's not too fat, chicken meat. Um, for fish is usually pretty fat, especially not the wild ones. So fish, to my experience, is so effect on my nostrils. You may try it. Also, if you want, shrimp is not really good, but I think shrimp is related to Usually shrimps have potassium as a preservative, and potassium is hard on kidneys. Speaking on kidneys, just want to just bring this from another video. Several fruits which have a high potassium content, such as bananas, for instance, are very hard on kidneys, and it doesn't show right away if you eat them. Uh, at one point, I was eating 2, 3 bananas a day because I was just saying, "What can I eat else?" After about 2 weeks or such regime, on such diet on bananas, at one night I woke up, my heart was just trying to jump out of my chest. I have a device that's measuring the blood pressure. My pressure, instead of about, which normally my blood pressure is normal around, I think, 115 or so. At that night was 150, 140. So I did feel like really, really weird. I stopped eating bananas, and the next day the blood pressure went down back to 115 or so, and no more heart problems. So you have to figure all these things. Maybe as long as I can still answer you, just ask me questions in the comment sections. Don't hesitate. I read questions from others as well. So all this to say about maybe food part at noon. And usually, if you want, the fruits that I eat, usually I would eat. I was talking about salad. Salad, maybe the red, very red, dark red. Sorry, not red, green. Dark green salads may be high on iron. I think it may be harder on kidneys. So maybe try more whitish looking lettuce salad. However, I can tell you I was eating Napa salad, which is Chinese, which is pretty sweet. That sweetness, that sugar didn't help me because it's too much sugar. So, um, as fruits, I usually eat blackberry if they are not too sweet. The ones that I actually tolerate better are raspberries, fresh, not frozen. No, frozen berries are too sweet, at least what I did experience, and that sugar is really not good for me, at least with the kidneys problem. So raspberries are good. Apples are okay, I think. Um, I don't really remember. Tomatoes may be fine, I also have some arthritis, so maybe if you have arthritis, you need to keep tomato on check. I don't remember right now other fruits, but not too sweet. No grapes, no I don't know, pineapples or stuff like this. That's too much sugar, at least for me. Okay, with the kidney. If you don't have a kidney problem, probably you are going to be fine with it. Acidic with too much C vitamin. Again, it's related to kidney problems. So if your kidneys are still fine, you should be able perhaps to eat those fruits. So my lunch is usually that pasta with the vegetarian, I think, veggie style ground meat. So there's no animal in it. However, it has salt and a little bit of potassium. But the salt part it's not very salty, but I limit the amount very much because salt obviously is hard on kidney. I do use a bit of oil. I tolerate oil in small amounts. Okay. I do use actually I like roasted sesame oil, which is very tasty. It's darker. It's fine, but a small amount. And I just spread some spices if you want. I do use oregano, I think, in English, and I can tell you that I tried once pepper and I didn't tolerate it in large amounts. No, no spice, not hot spices. I don't tolerate that, and that's my lunchtime basically. Then this is pretty much about the food for the day. Sometimes, like I say, I would eat perhaps raspberries in the evening, a little bit, not too much. Try to eat those who are not too acidic if you have kidney problem. Um, Sometimes when I really get hungry, by the way, again, after each dinner, I need to take supplements, fiber supplements, right? You need to find the right amount for you. Sometimes in the evening, if I'm too hungry, I will just eat really couple of bits of that toasted bread and take again fiber. But this is kind of risky for me, so it's really just sometimes when I'm really hungry. Risky may affect my sleep. Then I just go to bed. These days, it it kind of fluctuates. I would say I try not to sleep too early. But this is really personal. With the insomnia problem, you will have. Hopefully, you don't have insomnia, but um, so I go to sleep for what, around 9 p.m. or so. And because I have, when I wake up at night, oftentimes, not oftentimes these days, but um, I think it was perhaps, you never know for sure, but I think, well, at one time I was eating hard cheese. I said in the morning, um, besides the salt part in the cheese, I think also the hard cheese would cause me anxiety at night, so it would affect my nostrils and cause anxiety. So lately I didn't eat hard cheese, or at least maybe you try to eat it. You pick your own food, obviously, but I'll try to maybe eat it just once or twice a week just to remember the taste of it. So at night, usually also I have my laptop on my side and I just put some, you can, usually I put it on, you can put on some streaming, something internet. I'm not saying you should do this. That's what I do. I put it on streaming. Sometimes I'll just put on interviews with people, and I put a playlist or so. I need to hear something like a voice, a very dim voice, not loud, obviously, for when I wake up at night. And also, I turn off the screen, just the sound. For when I wake up at night and have anxiety, that helps me to hear some person's voice by my side. Um, Also, when I have strong anxiety, I need to just step out of my bed and just walk outside, like I say in other videos, for 5 to 10 minutes. Obviously, that would be because my nostrils will be dry, and that will just be a relief for me, just that walk outside. The nighttime is happening from, like I said, there's two scenarios. Most of the times, I would be asleep from perhaps around 9 to, let's say, 2 a.m. Usually that looks like it's oftentimes, I think it's 5 hours. That's weird, but and then at 2 a.m. and just stay awakened for about 3, 4 hours. And usually I would eat a little bit because I'm really hungry. And like I say in other videos about insomnia, hunger also reduces the glycemic in your blood and can cause insomnia or wake up at the night and you cannot go back to sleep. Can be related from hunger, but also obviously from the nostril condition. So I would eat a bit of that toasted bread. And by the way, when I say toasted, I would usually so it's a flat piece of pita bread if you want, or naan. It's like a half an inch thick. And I will actually cut it in two and toast it like this so it doesn't stay soft inside. So imagine it doesn't have to be burnt, but just not soft. Which if it's soft, it affects my nostrils more when I sleep and I get more anxiety. And yes, I need to talk about the dreams as well. Um, yes, I would eat a few bits of that bread, and again, I need to take that fiber supplement. And after 2, 3, 4 hours of insomnia, I would perhaps 2 out of 3 times, I would go back to sleep. Again, that would be at around. I try actually to sleep the second part of the night to go back at early morning hours. Why? Because it looks to me that if I take the second part of my sleep at kind of day hours from, let's say, 5 or 6 a.m. to 3 hours of sleep, 2 or 3 hours, usually it's 2 hours to 7 or 8 a.m. So let's say from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. It seems to me this is a less troubled sleep, and I'll explain in a moment what I mean by that. So this will be my second part of the sleep at night. Again, some nights I cannot go back to this second part of the sleep. I just stay awake, and I described this in another video about insomnia. Yes, I do feel tired, but I just decided in my mind, because you need to, when you have insomnia, you need to fight your frustration, and you just kind of organize yourself and just really kind of go along with it, not fight with it, not get frustrated, right? And sometimes I feel tired, but I I know, or I feel I won't get asleep, and I just force myself to stay awake, and you just take that tiredness on you, but you just, you know, just force yourself through it. Uh, I almost never sleep during the day, and also I don't have to drive, but I usually don't feel tired during the day. Maybe this is strange. Usually I go back to sleep when I say 9 p.m. Uh, I Most of the times I don't have problems getting asleep fairly easily, unless, and I don't do this often, unless I look at screens. So this is, at least to me, the screens do affect me. So usually I don't watch any kind of screen 4 to 5 hours before going to bed. Okay, I was saying about, let me just, yeah, I want to talk about, hopefully, and I don't forget, I say in other videos, I have annoying memory problems, like, especially if I have a stress on top of it. I just, for instance, sometimes I have something in my hand, could be anything, K-fob or something like this, and I just uh, want to take something else, and I put the fob at one place, unusual, like not the usual place, and then I just 1 minute or 30 seconds later, I absolutely completely forget where I put the fob, and because it's usually not a usual place, I just cannot find it back. So this is really annoying. So that's why I got to discipline myself to put the things really when I have something in my hand. I tell you what I do, because you may have this memory problems. I think it's due to insomnia for many years. When I just grab something with my hand, I say to myself, I don't think to anything else. I'm going to move like a robot, put the object to the usual place, so you don't get frustrated later on. So yes, I was saying about two things. I wanted to talk about two things: the dreams that I have, and also having a job. Ah, I can cope fairly okay with dreams, and I'll explain why. I'm uh, less happy about not being able to have a job. So I say in other videos that I did work as an engineer, study. That's when I was working as an engineer, that's when the surgery happened and all the breathing and night sleep happening problem. And I did a burnout, terrible burnout at that moment. I think I say in other videos, as I was using a computer, working and reading some documentation, just regular text, not something mathematical or weird information, just regular text. I would read a line on the display, a line, right? Like 10, 15 words. At the end of the line, I could not remember what the line was. Oh, cool times, cool times. Anyhow, so I left engineering uh, after several years. I started taking like basic jobs that don't need degrees. I was in restoration, in servicing. At that time, although I think, let me just grab some water, I think I already had problems with dehydration. I didn't knew it. I already had problems with the night sleep and breathing. As you can tell, I drink about every 30 minutes water. This is my favorite bottle, Powerade. It's water inside. That's because this neck here, it's easy to clean, and also when you drink like this, your, if you want, sorry for detail, but your saliva doesn't get inside the bottle, these bottles. If you drink a regular bottle, just remove the cap and drink, then the inside of the bottle after a while gets kind of nasty, if you want. So this is my favorite bottle, and I think, like I said, I used to drink, take a couple of uh, sips every 30 minutes or so, more if I outside. So I was saying about I took several jobs, and that time I was still functioning, and I could still wake up in the morning. I don't think I had insomnia back then, but the night sleep was bad, but not the worst. That was the first years, I think, after ENS, or after the surgery, if you want. The first, I did work for about 10 years after ENS, but the last years I was already struggling. So I took physical work, jobs, if you want, jobs that I was standing or in contact with people. Last job was actually working in a warehouse, was physical, and actually was difficult for me because I'm not used to physical work, but it had a good side that it was moving physically. Then that's about 4 or 5 years ago, and this is difficult for me because it's just very difficult. Yes, I do things on internet, I do make videos and stuff like this, but this is not I need to, I feel I feel I need to move physically, I need to be active physically, and it's just not. Obviously you can do, if you have a hobby or something like this, maybe that's, you are lucky, or if you can go or live outside the city or so, or maybe just have walks in a nice area, then that's great for you. But it's not a rant, I'm not sure what's the name for it. My my problem, if you want, the thing I don't like is I just cannot do a regular physical job. And that's because two factors. First, I'm not sure which, I think insomnia is the worst. I just cannot tell an employer, yes, I'm going to be there at 7 a.m. It's impossible for me. I mean, it doesn't work for me, right? um, because of the insomnia part. And the second thing is this constant need of drinking. And also, when I'm outside and I have a physical activity, if I would, for instance, I would try to run for 10 minutes, then I would dehydrate much faster, especially in hot weather, and even perhaps in very cold days in winter time, you just dehydrate much faster. So this water drinking thing and the kidney issue, I think it's not manageable, at least not for a full shift of 7, 8 hour work every day, day after day. Um, Also, I need to point out that when I'm at home, I need to go to the toilet every 2 hours or so because of this water drinking, right? So the water doesn't really get absorbed. Those 6, 7 liters, 24 hours don't get absorbed, all of them into your body. You need, at least I need to drink them to feel less worse with the kidneys and nostril dryness, but in body dehydration. But it's not that that entire water gets in, stays in the body. It also gets eliminated part of it. So I need to go, keep going to toilet. Imagine, it's just, I don't see a scenario, working scenario, where this is when this is feasible or possible. I was thinking, just give you an idea. So this is hard for me. It's really hard mentally, I think, not being able to move to work. Sometimes in summertime, I take my bicycle, I do a ride, but I limit the time for riding to maybe one usually 30 minutes, but no more than 1.5 hours because I dehydrate too much. And the next night is going to be more difficult for me with breathing. So it's springtime now in Canada. I was thinking maybe going to work on a farm. It's outdoor, it's cleaner air. Cleaner air, I think it helps a little bit. I mean, in the sense that dirty and polluted air, like in big cities, is going to perhaps feel worse for you. So cleaner air and just being outside and just moving, I think it would have helped. But I just cannot take an engagement that I would wake up at this hour every morning. And also, unfortunately, farm working means staying outside. And in Canada, maybe, I don't know if you live in Canada, Canada summer days are very hot. That's why I made another video about the weather and ENS. So it's impossible for me to just stay 2 hours in full sun heat. So the heat of the sun, the hotness of the air, that was be terrible for me for the dehydration problem. So imagine doing that 5, 6 days a week for several months. So all this to say, I'm just sharing with you my thoughts about working. Um, I maybe before I get into the dreams, um, I just want to share with you something. One of the things I did look recently is to buy a piece of land and just kind of build. I don't have enough money to build a home there, and um, yeah, there are regulations basically. It depends on if it's agricultural land or not. But to just kind of build a cabin or at least just an idea like this. But the idea would be just to live on a more rural area, cleaner air, and um, and just really live. I do have an income, but also just live maybe do some not crops, but some vegetable fruits like even plant fruits or maybe some of not sure what's the name for trees like cherries and so on so on. Cherries are not good for me, by the way. It's too sweet. So that was just my thinking for now. I'm not sure if I will have the physical strength to do it and the will to do it. I'm not sure, but because it's not really that easy. Um, but if you can find such a place, if you can move to such a place and you feel like you are in a similar situation as the one that I'm describing in these videos, I think that at least theoretically that would be perhaps a better alternative, especially if you cannot keep a job, right? Because you need to think long term and also um, as a way of living, but also financially. You need to think about it. If you can sell a bit of produce, a bit of fruits during the summertime, depends on your country, area regulations, and so on. I want to say something which went off my mind. Okay, so as I was speaking of fruits, I can say that um, strawberries, I don't, is not good for me because probably, I don't know, depends, it's too sweet or maybe too much C vitamin, I guess. For kidneys is not good. Cherries, I said, is not good. Um, Peaches depends. If it's not too sweet, it's okay usually. And there is the other apricots usually are pretty fine. So just give you more ideas about this. Um, let's just jump now for hopefully the last part of this video. Let's see. Is that 40 minutes or do I see? Oh, by the way, my view also did decrease somehow. Perhaps it's due to dehydration as well. So my view, I usually don't use eyeglasses, but lenses. Um, Perhaps it's age too, but I think it's kind of, I don't know. I had a good view before ENS. And by the way, just want to point this, when I had this kidney problem, I think the ENS condition in the body dehydration has been related. This is just my interpretation, right? It's important, like I said, to keep drinking water. Be aware that too much water during the day may cause problems because you kind of remove too much salt from your body. Just look online, drinking too much water, health problem. There is kind of, um, I think it says toxic reaction or something. It's weird. I don't want to use this name, but just Google up drinking too much water and just make sure, because when you drink a lot of water, you eliminate a lot of water, and the body has some sort of inside the blood, but inside the body fluids, plasma, I think they had electrolytes. So you are going to lose electrolytes when you urinate a lot. So just make sure you are aware of what may happen when you drink a lot of water. So sorry about this side note. I was saying about, I think I was saying about dreams. Did I start to say something else? I don't remember now. Anyhow, let's just go back to the dream part. Nostril dryness will affect, like I said, your sleep, not just insomnia, but the sleep, rest, and quality, just the sleep feeling overall, if you want. And it does affect my dreams a lot. I'm not sure what's the link. Oh, yes, sorry. I'll go back to this. You see, my ideas came back. It's like a cat walking through the room and sometimes goes out or sometimes goes in. And that's how my dreams, my ideas are working sometimes. So I was saying, oh no, it's gone. Oh boy. Sorry, weirdo. It's not weird, it's just how it goes. So let's just keep going with the dreams and maybe I'll get my idea back. The cat went away. I don't have cats, by the way. Yes, I was saying it does affect my dreams because I think this dryness of the nose, it's also impacting, like I said in other videos, the humidity inside the lungs, which need to have 100% humidity. And by the way, lungs are not a bag, right? Maybe go online just to get some biological information, anatomical information. It's good to understand this. Lungs is not a bag. I thought before ENS, I was thinking lungs are like a bag. No, lungs is really like a big sponge with tiny holes, but that's how it is. And you have trachea that goes deep inside the sponge, and that sponge is like small cells inside. And these cells make the exchange between which the cells have tiny blood vessels around them. It's like spheres, and there is this gas exchange between the air that you breathe in. But this air has to be 100% humidity, and obviously dry nostrils will cause much lower humidity inside lungs, and you don't have a good gas exchange. This may actually rise the levels of perhaps CO2 in your blood. I didn't measure it, or maybe lower the levels of oxygen. And this perhaps is an explanation why my dreams are impacted. I usually don't have nightmares, but when there are nightmares, they are pretty anxious. But even the dreams that are not nightmares, they are like, not sure how to explain it. It's like passing in another, like living another life. First, these dreams are very long, and they are completely an immersion. It's like in a virtual world. Oftentimes they are realistic, and it's like it's real. So it's not like, I compare also to the dreams that I had before ENS. It's not a regular dream. It's something like you just you think it's the reality. You really think like this. This is me. Obviously, it's going to be different for others, perhaps. It's just like I live in another reality. And again, it's long dreams, and oftentimes it's a long situation, long scenario. It doesn't matter really the scenario subject. um, and it's difficult to come back when I wake up. It's like I wake up and it's difficult to shift my mind. I'm in this room or in that dream was not a life or something like this, was not real. It's difficult to shift from that. And this also sometimes it triggers anxiety when I wake up. And this is also another reason why I need to have a walk outside to just kind of get rid of that anxiety. So it's basically those dreams are like somehow I say it's difficult psychologically when I'm awake. So you see, this is also impacting my sleep in this way. I think it's due to this condition. The cat came back. Did you believe that? Oh boy. Okay, hi there. So this is the idea. It came back again. Hopefully, it's not going to fly away again. Not that the cats fly. I was talking about kidneys. I wanted to talk about kidneys. What I think there are like at least two scenarios. What I think damaged my kidneys is that during COVID, I didn't got COVID during the pandemic, but I took vaccines, three of them. I'm really not sure which one were those, but I think was the most popular. And basically, my kidney problems have I detected my kidney problems after the COVID pandemic. I'm sure the dehydration of the body happened well before the pandemic, but I didn't have like reactions from kidneys at that point. So when I say that the ENS may cause kidney problems, I related this to dehydration, which is difficult. It's causing the kidneys to struggle because, like I explained in another video, the kidneys really are like a filter for the blood. The entire blood passes several times a day, and if you are dehydrated, the blood gets thicker. So obviously, try to pass with pressure a thicker fluid through a fine filter, it's going to force on the filter. So this is one of the explanation why I think kidney damage may be related, and you may expect if you don't take care of your body dehydration, if you when you have ENS condition, and it's kidney damage, it's well documented, happens in persons, even in persons without ENS condition, with persons that don't drink enough water. With age, the kidney get damaged. So just Google up. So again, what I'm saying here, kidneys are for everyone are sensitive to body dehydration. That's why I say this may be one of the reasons why I got kidney damage from ENS and dehydration. However, there is a second possibility. I don't know which one is the right one. Maybe both came into game. So I just want to share with you this other situation. So it seems that those vaccines that were given during COVID may affect kidneys. Um, what I could find on internet, you can search on Google COVID vaccine kidney damage or kidney damage. Yes, I think just search and read the it's like publications research. It says only about renal or kidney lowering function, and in some cases even failure, which are related to those vaccines. Not in really a very small amount percentage of people. I think it was saying about 2 or 3% of people who had COVID vaccine got some kidney affection related directly from those vaccines. So this has those publications have nothing to do with ENS condition, right? So 2 or 3 persons had some sort of a kidney issue due to vaccines, and of these 2 or 3 persons, I don't exactly remember what percentage had kidney failure. So kidney damage in my situation may be caused by COVID vaccines. I will never know if it's from COVID, from ENS, or both. Just want to just throw this information out there. I just want to add on this that my kidney, what the doctors said, they do this echography on kidneys. Actually, they tested my kidneys. I did a urine test and I think blood test, if I remember well, and they say that the levels of whatever indicators, they say the levels were good. And still, I can see it just like I described in my videos. I can see that the kidneys are just not working well when I eat anything with salt, anything with sugar. I don't have diabetes, so anything also when I eat what's other things hard on kidneys. I think I will upload the video where I will describe all the problems, all the foods that are problematic with kidneys, everything that eats nuts which contain oxalates with an X. You can Google up about this. Everything with C vitamin, too much C vitamin, including vitamin supplements. Those are hard on kidneys. So I see my reactions about kidneys and I also feel my pain about kidneys. But it seems, at least when I took the test, that the indicators of my kidneys function appear to be good in the urine and blood test. Obviously, at least to my understanding, this does not mean my kidneys are working good. Just I can see their problems, but maybe it's something that is not measured by those tests. So the problem with my kidneys may be something it doesn't show in those tests. I cannot tell more than this. What I can say is that when I did a echography, I think exam on kidneys, it's just the same echography when you are pregnant, but it can be done in several other body organs, including the kidneys. So the echography did show cysts. That's what it says on the kidneys, medium-sized cysts. I don't know what this means. I will just add, and I think this is my last subject on this video, is that I spent quite a lot of time, just like now, I sit on my bed and I rest my back against the wall, but also I put a pillow to kind of support my lower back. Maybe, I don't know, but maybe in the past I was keeping this pillow to press against the kidneys, which are kidneys located under the behind lowest the lowest back ribs, right? So maybe look on pictures on internet. So maybe this pillow was pressing against the kidneys and this affected them in the long term. I don't know. I'm just throwing this out there. Maybe be careful if you, uh, for whatever reason, if you use the same body position um, that I use oftentimes. So all this, I'm just throwing these things out there so you have kind of information, which again, this is my situation. Maybe other situations, other people will have the same or different situation, right? So it's up to you to just judge by themselves and use really your reasonment, your judgment, and try to figure out all these things by yourself. Try to sort all things by yourself. When you select the food, if you want to try what I say about diet and eating hours, you need to find a way to determine which foods affect you, which don't affect you, and how to establish your menu or your diet, when to eat and what to eat during the day. Um, let's perhaps add this to this video. The way I determine the foods, someone was asking good question in a video, is I simply try to eat very few items during a day and try to switch between the items until I felt that, because this diet usually most of the times will just have immediate reaction in the following night. So if you eat something wrong, the next night I will feel the results on my nostril condition. If one day I will eat the right things, then that nostrils um, condition will improve the next night. So it's always usually the next night. However, there are a few foods which I call have sort of a accumulative effect. If I eat one specific food, it may be fine for a few days, then after maybe 5 days or maybe 1 week or more, it will start having an effect. This is more difficult to kind of pin that food is bad, but this is not with all foods. It's lesser items. But again, when I determine that diet, it's really I try to eat one day only maybe 1, 2 items, and maybe switch every day until I could find items that were not causing me problem for the next night. And then I will just mark these items down. I had a list. These items don't cause me problems. So then the next day I will eat these items, plus I would add another items, a new one, to test it. If I had problem the next night, then the new item is not good for me. And that's how I determine all the food that was good for me, which basically is not a lot. Not a lot of variation, basically. A few items that are good, that don't affect either my nostril dryness, my sleep, and my kidney. Okay, a 1 hour video is pretty long for an ENS video, but at least you got a bit of information. Okay, thanks for watching. Good luck and be optimistic.